Okay, what we have here is a 1982 Peavey T-60, just picked up recently, and we're gonna take a look under the hood because this tone knob is working like a volume, so it's telling me that the capacitor is falling off or there's something wrong with the capacitor. So we're going to take a look at that, as well as generally see if everything in there is intact, see if it's original, which I believe it is, and well, the matter I'm going to do a setup as well. It needs a setup. So stand by and we'll get started. Okay. Well, you pretty much have to schedule an afternoon and take a lunch to take the screws off of this pick guard. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 screws holding the pick guard on, plus 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 screws to hold the pick guard on. Holy crap, Hartley. You didn't fool around when you were building this thing, did you? Okay. So let's lift it off and see what's under there. Flip her over. Ah, bastard. There we go. So, there she is. We're looking, here's the routing. Incidentally, this was the first guitar ever made using CNC technology to carve out the bodies. It was Hartley Peavey inspiration. There's the electronics. Looks like a fishnet in there. But I'm gonna have to put the camera down for a second. I want to find out why this is this particular one isn't working. Hang on. Okay, jumped ahead a little bit here. One of the problems I was having with this guitar right off the bat was the bridge pickup was very thin sounding, and the way these things are supposed to work is that on the tone controls, the tone control splits the pickups. Their humbucker pickups splits it. So if you have the tone turned up to 10, you're getting a single coil. If you roll it back to about 7, then the other coil blends in and you wind up with a humbucker. How that exactly works, I don't know. But this thing was thin, and I couldn't get the humbucker part to kick in, or it was already a humbucker. I think it was already a humbucker, but there was no balls going through it, no power. So this hole here is where a reverse phase switch. So you can change it from in phase to out of phase. Get that Jimmy Page thing going. Here's the switch here. I took it out, and the bridge pickup goes through that to reverse the phase of the bridge pickup. So I took that out and I rewired it so that it doesn't require to roll off the tone to get the humbucker. It's humbucker all the time. You're not getting that coil split going on, which I've never been a big fan of anyway. I think if you want a humbucker, play a humbucker guitar. If you want a single coil, play a single coil guitar, but that's just me. So in order to do that, you'll notice these red wires here with the tape. These red wires come from the pickup and they hook up to one of the lugs, this lug here, I believe, this lug here on the tone. So to turn it into a full-time humbucker, you simply just connect that wire, which I did on both pickups. So now it's wired more or less like a Les Paul, and which in my opinion works best. There's the switch over here. It's just a regular toggle switch. It's not one of the big ones like a Gibson has, which I would prefer because they're pretty much bulletproof. You can hit them with a truck and they won't break. This one's very flimsy. So I may change that at some point in time. But in the meantime, I've got all the pickups wired up like a Les Paul. Got rid of that coil, or sorry, the phase switch. And I think it's going to work a lot better. I tested both pickups. They They both come out to about 8.5K, which is about right. So we'll slap this in and string it up and start with the setup. Okay, one thing I always do before I put strings on is check these nuts here, because they like to work themselves loose, and the washer underneath then will start to vibrate and it'll buzz and it'll drive you nuts and you won't know where it's coming from. So these like to work themselves loose. So let's put a little socket on. This is a 10mm socket. And just give it a hand twist. These ones are all snug because I've already done them, but when I did do them, I found this one and this one were a bit loose. So for the 2 seconds it takes to do that, it's well worth it. Interesting thing about the T-60 is the metal nut that it has. Not quite sure what metal it's made out of, but that's what they chose to use. So that's what's on there. Hartley Peavey is quite the innovator. When he builds something, he tries to make it the best he can and make it affordable. I don't know what these guitars ran when they were new, but you can pick them up for under $500 easily. One's in really good condition, seemed to go around 6 or 7. This is a player. She's got some wear and tear on her. I think it's nitro finish too. I'm not 100% sure, but looking at the body, it's a very, very thin finish that's on it. It's quite nice. You can feel the wood grain and everything. So anyway, let's get some strings on it and set her up. Okay, I'll show you a little trick I like to use when I'm stringing a guitar. First thing I do is make sure all the holes are pointed like this, straight down the neck. Makes it easier to find the hole later on. So I bring the string up, rest it in the nuts, then go around the nut or the peg, a couple of winds, hold it down, fish the end through. This is why it helps to know where the hole is in the peg. Get in there, you bastard. There we go. Fish it through, keeping the pressure on the side so it doesn't unravel itself. Like that. Pull the string through. Give it a tighten. Bend it up. Then turn the pitch. That saves you doing all those winds around and around and around. And bring it up roughly to pitch. Cut the end off. And you're good to go. And then you do it again with the next string. Around a couple times. I usually do 2 winds for the big strings and 3 winds for the little strings. But whatever floats your boat, you know, we'll have our ways. This is just mine. And it's a lot quicker than doing all the winding around. And bring her up to the pitch. And cut it off. That's about it. So I'll do the rest and then we'll get on with the setup. Okay, we're going to check the relief on the neck. Got one of these relief sticks. This is a straight edge with knots in it for the frets. One side's got a Gibson scale, the other side's got a Fender scale. You can get these online, eBay for about 20 bucks. They make a long one too for bass guitars. But yeah, so we just lay it down the middle and look and see what the gap is. Some people use little feeler gauges to try it. That's fine if you're setting up for other people, you know, and you want to get it to try to get the factory spec. This is just for me. I know where I like it, so I just eyeball it. And I'm eyeballing. Yeah, truss rack is usually a little tight, maybe not quite a quarter of a turn. So get my truss rod wrench and we'll give it a tighten. Okay, using this little guy here. It's a 5/16 Gibson wrench, which fits in there nicely. And I'm going to give her a little tighten, just a bit. Okay. We'll see how that does. I got these strings out of the way so that I can, oops, get in there. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. Alrighty. Yeah, that's a bit better. We'll try it with that, see what happens. Okay, so now we'll just make sure we got it tuned back to pitch again. We want to make sure that the, come on, there. Tension on the truss rod is where it would be normally. If the strings are too loose, then the truss rod isn't going to set right because it's not pulling against enough tension. So, yep, bang on. That's the way I like it. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at our action. A little buzzy up here, and it's not bad. One adjustment that this guitar has, that many don't, is a micro tilt. See that little hole right there? Right there. It takes a 1/8 Allen key. There's a little screw in there that, when you tighten it up, it pushes into the heel of the neck and tilts it a little bit. Some Fenders have that too, but this one, Peavey put that in there, which is great, absolutely great. If you haven't got the neck in quite the right angle, it just gives you that much extra to work with to try and get the guitar set up just the way you like it. So I'm going to angle it forward just a little bit. So I'm going to bring the headstock end out, and hopefully that'll take care of this buzz, because the nut action on this is about right from the looks of it. So I'm going to bring that out, which will bring the strings down here up a little bit, but then I can adjust them down, fine tune them really with the saddles, and see if we can get this thing singing. Okay, so first things first, find the Allen key, my little Allen key box. Here it is here. Got the green tape on it. That's how I know the Allen keys that I use the most. And screwdriver. You gotta loosen the screws off on do this just a little bit, maybe about a turn. Not have to crank them out, just a bit. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bring the neck this way, which means I have to bring the screw out a bit to move the heel of the neck in. Heel goes in, headstock goes out. So put the Allen key in, find the little screw, there it is. I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going counterclockwise. About a quarter of a turn, just a little bit. Whenever you make adjustments, just do a little bit at a time. Don't try to do it all in one shot. You'll just frustrate yourself. But make sure you have time in your hands. You got all the time in the world, it's no problem. It's a bit better. Now I'm going to retune. There we go. The volume turned off. The whole guitar's gone a bit flat because I've moved the headstock up a little bit. I'm going to leave it like that, and then we'll make an adjustment on the bridge, okay? Hang on a second. Okay. One of the problems with this guitar is that the frets are going to need some attention. They've been filed down and crowned a few times, so they're pretty much at the bottom of their lifespan. Still playable, but there will come a time in the near future when I'm going to refret this guitar. It's a good old guitar. This guitar, I don't worry about value per se. Pay a fair price, and when I sell a guitar, I sell it at a fair price. Some are keepers. This one is probably a keeper, but that remains to be seen. Only had it for a week or so. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so that's the E. So we move up to the A string. So we start out with the string on tune to pitch. Okay, so we'll bang on A. So I'm going to bring it down just a bit. So we only do a little bit at a time. Make sure you use the right size Allen key for everything you adjust. Otherwise you strip it out and you're screwed. So we'll go down about a quarter of a turn. About a quarter of a turn. What you do to one, you do to another. It's crooked. There. What you do to one screw, you do to the other. You don't want your saddle sitting crooked or anything. And especially, and we have to tune it back up to pitch again because we dropped the saddle, so it went a little flat. There we go. I'm going to try and bring this one down just a little more. Yeah, you don't want, what you do with one, always do with the other. There we go. You do with one, always do with the other, and that applies all the way across. So you don't want one saddle way up and the next one way down, the other one in the middle someplace. You want the saddles to be arched. They're more or less the same arch as the fingerboard. There might be a little difference because of bass strings and the big strings, little strings, but generally speaking, in that idea. So you look at your fingerboard, look at the arch, you look at the saddles and think, yeah, they're pretty good. That's how I do it. I do a lot of my stuff by eye. As I said, I just do my own guitars. I know what I like, so I don't need to measure too much. So I'm going to put up just a tad more. Just a tad. And then bring it back up to pitch again. Okay, so that'll do. Okay, now we're going to look at the intonation. Already done the low E, so we'll move up to the A string. And we put the A string, tune it to pitch, check it at 12, and it's a little sharp, which means we're going to make this string a little longer. So we tighten the screw just a little bit. That's all it takes. Now we turn it down to pitch again. 12th fret. Flat. Okay, we're all set. Here she is in all her glory. I got rid of that switch there, so now it's just a whole truck set side. Make a noise. And there it is, Peavey T-60. So here's what's happening. The phase switch is gone. I got rid of the coil split. Disconnected the wire for that. So now the tone knob just works like a tone knob. The way these things are designed to work is that when you have the tone turned all the way up to 10, you get just a single coil on the respective pickup. When you roll it back to about 7, the other coil kicks in and you have a humbucker. Some people like that. It just seems like too much of a pain in the ass for me. And if I was going to do that, I would just put switches. But I'm not into that. I just like my humbucker, humbucker guitar, a single coil, and a single coil guitar. Simple. So I changed it around a bit, so now this works just like a Les Paul does. Volume and tone for the bridge, volume and tone for the neck, and a three-way. That's it. So we're on the bridge position using a Marshall Valve State 40, nice little amp. We'll go clean in the bridge position. Middle. Bridge. Oh, sorry, neck. So here it is, 1982 Peavey T-60. Great guitars, really great. Once you get all this electronics sorted out. If you get one with the electronics that works good, that's fine. But this one was giving me grief, so I just got rid of all the shit that was in there and fixed it up using the original pots and the original switch. Everything in there is original, just rewired. Rewired like a Les Paul. So there you have it. Any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.